Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the video. This time is the SH Figuarts Avengers Endgame Ronin. So, let's get started. It's your boy Hawkeye, back, in the guise of Ronin that they've taken from the comics. And if you've seen the movie, you already know what it kind of leads to. If not, yeah. But anyway, let's jump into this review. First and foremost, I want to start by saying for an SHF, I am kind of surprised that the way that this guy was pumped out very quickly. It's one of those things where, it's a round for error, and there's something that I've noticed on the weapon sheets. So we'll talk about that in a little later. But because they're pumped out so fast, there was errors, especially because they're working off of preliminary designs and a bunch of secrets to be kept. So there were errors made. I'm going to talk about that. But anyway, let's jump into the actual video for this guy. Ronin actually looks pretty nice. He's a nice, sleek design. It's actually really cool. And as you can see, the level of black is semi-gloss. It's reflecting the light very well off his costume. Really, really good stuff. Now, I'm going to take the hood off because the hood is removable. And it actually looks really good with the removed hood. It makes him look like a ninja, basically armored ninja. So it's one of those things that's actually really cool. You'll actually see, if I can get a good shot on it, because black against this. Yep, there we go. As you can see, the 3 nods here. So 2 for the side of the head, 1 in the back where it kind of just cuffs in. Actually, I don't know if you actually can see it, but yeah. It's actually grooves in there. That allows for it. But anyway, jump into the articulation. The head can move up. Not that far up, but pretty nice, pretty decent. The head can move down. It actually has a great limiter, great range going downward. And there's still space to tilt side to side for the head. That allows for some expression. I like that a lot. That's always my kind of thing that I'm aiming for. So let's say if you want to do a shot like this, you actually have the way you can express it. The collar is going to get in the way of you maximizing that. So even if you tuck the head up and go over, this is the amount of range you'll get. As far as the arms go, the arms work on a little bit of a 360 joint. You can rotate it. Oop. And as you can see, I've pulled it out. Gone a little too far. You can actually lift the arm going up this far. The arm is singular jointed, but it has a rotating joint that allows for extra bit of range to rotate this way at the forearm. And it has that basic SHF swivel joint. You can actually rotate the arm all the way around. It's going to be a little tricky when you get here for the top of the vest. The arm may pop out, as you can see here. But it's an easy pop back in, not to worry about that. So it's not too much of an issue. And if you're worried about him getting in an archer pose, as you can see, I keep popping that out. And that's one of my little gripes about this. Because I handle him a little rough. I'm not even going to lie about it. But even at the littlest bit of touch, it's just coming out. So you got to be a little careful with that. If you're worried about an archer pose, technically he can get into it. So just keep that in mind for those of you getting Hawkeye and want to mix and match parts. As far as the waist articulation goes, he can actually swivel all the way left and right. He has a pretty decent forward crunch. The backwards crunch, not so much. These are soft plastic. Keep that in mind. The leg can come up about this far, and it uses a little bit of the Tony Stark leg production here, which I'm a little weirded out by. I don't know why they use that, and it does not have the drop down technique. So when it comes to certain points of articulation, he can still crouch down. Let's see. Yep, can still crouch down pretty easily, but it's one of those things where the skirt may get in the way or fold up and bunch. So just keep that in mind. As far as jumping poses go, yeah, not too bad. It's one of those things where, depending on the angle, it's going to look a little funny because of the skirt, but he can still do jumping poses pretty well. So let's do that. Let's do a nice jumping pose. Yeah, not too bad, but it doesn't look as good with the skirt. Now, as far as jumping and kicking, because he does not have the drop down method, it looks a little weird. Even with the ab crunch going forward, it's not clicking for me. So the look of it is nice, but it's just one of those things where posing, he'll probably do pretty well, just going to look funny in some stances. The ankle pivot is pretty generous. It's not too much, but it's also enough for him to get in basic fighting poses and the generic toe pivot that you get with most SHF. So as you can see here, I can still get running in the fighting poses, but I'm a little disappointed by the skirt articulation hindering it a bit. So I'm probably going to cut it right along here to give him that little bit of extra wiggle room, make me feel a lot better about his articulation. Now, as far as what Ronin comes with, he only comes with one head, but he comes with another head, and this head has the eyes looking towards the left. As you can see here, looks pretty good. It's covering up his face, so it's not like it does matter, but yeah. We have basic hands. These hands are for, normal posing. if you want to look in a relaxed pose stance. And you have hands for holding items such as the swords and the sheath. Now, one of the things I noticed when in comparison to the Marvel Legends, which I'll get into that, there is a small error on this guy. But we'll get into that in a second. He has a sword. Only one sword comes unsheathed. And for the life of me, I'm a little confused about why SHF kind of goes backwards and forwards, with sometimes having interchangeable parts and sometimes just doing it as a part swap, or, you know, normally it can actually slide in on its own. So it's really weird that that's happening now. Now, this is the sheath blade, and it plugs into the back of Ronin. It looks really good, right? The only exception I've noticed is that I think it was printed upside down, because as you can see, this is the end of the blade, and this is probably where it should be. This should be on this side, right? Because when you look at the Marvel Legends one, in comparison, if we're going to do it that way, it should have been that way. Unless we're talking about, you know, maybe I'm tripping, and no, I'm not tripping, because even if you put it this way, which it can't peg in that way, yeah, it's printed on backwards. So also you will get an unsheathed one, which you can plug in. And this one plugs it in the same way. So either they're printed backwards or they're going off a different design, which we'll know. I won't ever know. But you get one last thing, and that is basically the unsheathed one to go into his hand, should he decide he wants to hold the sword and sheath in the hand. So this is going to plug into the hand, and it's going to take a little bit of work to put it right there in the hand, but it's going to plug in right there very nicely. And that looks pretty good. Now, Ronin in Endgame didn't do too much. He only got one real scene. I was hoping for more, but hey. If you read the comics and you're a big Ronin fan, this costume actually does pretty good justice by the character, which I'm totally okay with. But in the movie, he really didn't do that in this version of the costume. Now, one of the things I do want to try on camera is swapping the head with the Hawkeye head from Age of Ultron to see how that works. Because the head pops off very easy. So let's see if we can get it to work. And actually, yeah, it does. It does work. So if you still have Hawkeye, it's going to sit a little high on the peg. But the Age of Ultron Hawkeye head fits on there. Fits pretty high on the peg, so you may want to get a shorter peg for that. But overall, yeah, it works. And it actually looks really good if the neck weren't so long. So keep that in mind. And then the next thing I want to test is the hands. Because should you want a Hawkeye, I think you deserve to know if you can get your bow and arrow on, right? So the pegs seem to be similar, if not the same. And voila, yep. So your Ronin can also be your Hawkeye for photos in the meantime, because they fit on just fine. So I'm going to keep that in mind for my photos. I am definitely going to enjoy this, because I love mixing and matching this kind of stuff. So let's put you on. And last but not least, we're going to jump into some size comparisons. This is some of you guys' favorite part before the photos, right? So they're going to stand you up real nice, make you look good. We're going to compare him to some Avengers and then other companies. So here he is next to Captain America, also from Endgame. Here he is next to his homie Black Widow, whom he loves 3000, from Endgame as well. So that's these three guys so far. And as you can see, Hawkeye is probably the shortest guy that we've gotten in a while. It's weird that he's so short compared to Cap, but I remember Jeremy Renner actually being small too, so that's okay. Here he is next to Ant-Man. Or maybe they just made Cap a really, really tall guy. Yeah, they might have made Cap just a really tall guy. Because next to Ant-Man, he doesn't look that bad, but he does still look very short. Here he is next to Iron Man. Yeah. Next up, we're going to do Thor and Captain Marvel. Well, we know everybody's going to be short compared to Thor, right? They make that guy tall no matter what version he's in. At least taller than everybody else in the line. Next up, we have Captain Marvel. So yeah, he's actually as small as Captain Marvel, which may make him a little too small. So that may be an issue for some of you who prefer your scales to be accurate for you. So just keep that in mind. Here he is next to Black Panther from SHF. And then we're going to do, who else can we do? Oh, wait. Actually, let's do him next to Hulk. So, yeah. Hulk is just gigantic in his own way. But as you can see, Ronin is definitely sitting on the much smaller scale, which is a little weird. I didn't expect that and didn't really even notice it until I put him next to other people. Here he is next to War Machine. So, yeah, he is really, really small. So, you're definitely going to have to keep that in mind. Now, we're going to compare him to other lines. Get it going to see how you like him next to other lines so you can kind of fit in. Or if he can't fit in, maybe he might be too small. I'm going to make it work. Here he is next to Storm Collectible Scorpion. Next up, we're going to compare him to an Articulated Icons Ninja. Then we have the Hasbro Lightning Collection White Ranger. Wow, he's really, really small. He's even smaller than the AI Ninja. That is a... wow, that may be a big issue, actually. Here he is next to 1000 Toy Synthetic Human. SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Kuga. Actually, I'm pretty sure I can make it work because now he'll work with other SHF. The other issue is that he's tiny to work with other stuff, though. Now let's put him next to a Marvel Legends Ebony Maw, which he's an alien, so I don't think the height really should be an issue. But this is a little outrageous. One thing I did forget to compare him to is SHF Thanos. So yeah, tiny guy. Next up, a Marvel Legends Spider-Man, which is probably like my favorite pose for this guy in a t-shirt. And then last but not least, here we are with a Mezco Captain America, or Mezco Steve Rogers, in this case, Commander Rogers. Yeah. All in all, I know the height is definitely going to bother some people. It's definitely taken a turn for me. I did not expect him to be so small. Really didn't. But I think you can make it work if you're going to do it against AI Ninjas or do it against other stuff that's going to be in Japanese scale. But if you're going to put them with your Legends, it's definitely going to be a problem unless you're using force perspective. Overall, like the figure, I actually love the figure. I'm just going to slit this side to give him a little bit of better articulation. And then I'm also going to try to fix that sword issue because that's weird that it's printed that way. Or maybe it's a different design. But I am enjoying the sculpt. I'm enjoying the articulation. And the look of it all is just making me want to, you know, it makes me still consider the fact that I do love ninjas. So let's see something real quick. Can he high kick? Because if he can still high kick, not that much range. But a ninja's still a ninja, right? Gotta follow the ninja way. All in all, nice piece. A little disappointing in some areas, but not something a little bit of modding can't fix, especially because now I know his parts are compatible with Hawkeye. So I'm going to try to make that work. All in all, guys, hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. But most of all, hope you do good, be good, drink your water, guys. Later.